Fascinating to watch those two in action. Let's bring in Jon Steinberg and John Ford for their reactions to this. Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Jon Steinberg, let me begin with you. A wide variety of cooperative ventures. What could that possibly mean?
Well, I mean, I think this whole announcement is really what I would call socks for Christmas. I mean, you need socks, right? But it's just exciting. We wanted a television, we wanted a wearable, and instead we got a distribution deal that they had to do anyway to make up the fact that smartphones are basically penetrated in much of the developing world. So it's just not that exciting, and the stock is showing that.
Are you that cynical, John?
Maybe I like socks. I don't know. There are a few things in here that I think are pretty interesting. One, as part of this announcement, Tim Cook made the point, 3,000 additional locations in China. That's more than just an opportunity to sell more iPhones. It's more of everything else, the Apple brand. I think it's significant that the head of China Mobile is now carrying a gold iPhone. He's important, not
you
just
mean on his person.
On his person.
Really?
It's now his primary phone, he told Eunice. That's important because he's more than just an executive. He's also a very important person in China. And the sort of trouble that Apple has had over the past few months, year and a half, complaints about customer service, things like this that seem to bubble up from the Chinese establishment. Once you start having somebody like that carrying the phone, maybe Apple becomes cool again in a different way in China. That's important for their overall business.
To Steinberg's point, John, I mean, the early take on Cook when he was first named was that he was a supply chain guy, right? And this is a supply chain story. Then you get Walter Isaacson on today, Jobs biographer, saying on Squawk Box that the real innovation in this country is coming from Google. How does Cook change that narrative?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how I would put it. And I watched Isaacson this morning on Squawk Box. This is great. This is great operations. This is great execution. This is great steady growth. But we wanted Nest. We wanted something that was game-changing. The stock went up on the 22nd when they announced this deal to 570. It's back at the pre-run level because everybody basically realizes this is just going to make up for the slowing growth in the other markets. They need to do game-changing acquisitions. They need to get these other products out the door. You know, to John's point, this is great stuff that they need to do to continue the core business to be successful, but we need more growth here.
I don't know about all this kind of innovation bashing. I mean, yes, Google is a very innovative company. They came out with the Moto X, which has not blown the socks off of the smartphone market. Now they just bought the company of a former Apple employee. So, I mean, innovation, yes, but, I mean, come on, people. Let's wait to see what these folks have next that actually sells a lot and makes a lot of money, and then we'll put the crown on.
John, I mean, you're in the business of unveiling new things at BuzzFeed. Where is the line between keeping your cards close, right, being coy, not letting things leak, and running out of market patience?
I completely agree with that. And the questions that Eunice asked in the interview, they could have given some answers to it. Just saying it's watershed, you know, doesn't really work. What is the subsidy going to be on the device? If they're launching this, let's get that news out the door. How many incremental units? Everyone's saying 10 to 30 million more units. How many incremental units is that going to be on top of the 30 million units they did last quarter? Why not tell us this stuff? The shareholders deserve to know this information.
Well, a key number also that came out of this interview, at least that Cook emphasized, it was already sort of out there, but 57% of mobile traffic in China is coming from iOS devices. This narrative is shifting a little bit in Apple's favor now. People are realizing, based on holiday numbers, people aren't buying as much using Android devices. People aren't surfing as much in China on Android devices. Now the head of China Mobile is using an iOS device. Apple has an opening here to make something of it. We'll see if it translates.
That's a really fair point, John. And actually, we see this at BuzzFeed as well, that the usage on iOS, even though there are more Android devices, people do use the iOS devices so much more for apps and web browsing. So that definitely is a big incremental as well.
John, wish you were down here on set, but we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Jon Steinberg and, of course, our John Ford here at Post 9 today at 8.